Reporting. Well, joining me live now is Rami Khouri, Director of Global Engagement and Senior Fellow at the Issam Fariz Institute of Public Policy and International Affairs at the American University of Beirut. Welcome to you. Thank you very much for being with us here on BBC News. Now, of course, people are putting it in different terms, but essentially the message is that this is an inflection point. Where do you see this going next?
This is a really historic moment. And we don't know what's going to happen next. Virtually everything that you hear or read about this next stage that's coming up or the next moves coming up is speculation. Even the Iranians and the Hezbollah leaders and the Israeli government, all of them are not precisely sure of what they're going to do next because it's a very fluid situation. We do know that there will continue to be fighting. It may expand. It's already expanded from Gaza to Lebanon in a big way. And you've got Yemenis firing rockets at Israel and people in Iraq. And so the real big question here is how badly is Hezbollah damaged? If Hezbollah's ability to conduct military attacks against Israel, which is its raison d'etre as a resistance movement to resist Israel's aggressions in Lebanon and Palestine. If it can't do that very effectively, then this is a big blow to all the resistance forces in the region and to Iran particularly. That's why I think Iran will probably take some action to fortify Hezbollah in its present condition. And again, we don't know how badly they're damaged. The Israelis have not clarified exactly what they want to achieve in Lebanon. They keep coming up with different things that they want to do to return their internally displaced people to northern Israel, to stop rockets coming from Lebanon, to create a security zone. So it's a very, very fluid moment. What we do know from history in many countries all around the world, including ones that Great Britain experienced during the colonial era, is that when you suppress a people, they fight back. When you subjugate a people, they resist. And this is the basic dynamic that's going on here. If you kill the resistance leaders, more militant ones follow them. And this has happened all over the world.
Rami, I want to ask you about what you think this means for Lebanese society, not just in terms of the humanitarian costs, but of course we can see that many people having to flee right now, but also cognizant of the fact, if I'm not mistaken, you've got around half of the population supporting Hezbollah, half of which doesn't really. So I just wonder, where you think this might go from here if Hezbollah indeed is significantly weakened. Does it provide any kind of opportunity for the country to disentangle from Hezbollah?
It's possible. Hezbollah's relationship with Lebanon has evolved over the years. They're in the parliament, they're in the cabinet, they're the kingmakers. They have to approve any decision, for instance, for a new president. But they only do that when they are able to protect Lebanon from Israel, which is the reason they were created, and the reason that people supported them, especially when they pushed Israel out of South Lebanon in 1980. And they have probably half the country really supports them, and the other half doesn't support them or is ambivalent about them. But a lot of Lebanese complain that Hezbollah keeps creating these situations where Israel comes in and destroys many things in Lebanon and creates massive human suffering. But the problem is that the average Lebanese, like all Arabs across the Arab world, have no capacity to influence the policies either of their governments or, because most governments in the Arab world have not been very successful at providing security and development and sovereignty, the governments sort of play a back seat role, and these non-state actors come into being. Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, many others all over the region. Real power is not vested in the institutions of state. It's shared with these other religious, tribal, ideological movements. And this is the real dilemma of the Arab world. And Lebanon is very typical of this. It's a strikingly impressive country. It's a dynamic country. It's a wonderful country. But it's not because of the work of the government, but it's because of the spirit of the people and their ability to be creative and dynamic and effervescent. But they've taken so many hits in the last 25, 30 years, mainly because of the aggression from Israel, but also because of internal warfare, being entangled in the Palestinian issue, and then the rise of Hezbollah.
We have to leave it there, unfortunately, Rami Khouri, but many thanks indeed for sharing your analysis. We appreciate it.
You bet.